648. So pretty bad. And for the Wi-Fi units, we got 14,313. That's a gain of 570 over the past week. So, I feel like the CBRS folks are moving over to Wi-Fi. So, yeah. And ROI estimates for mobile. We got a mobile token price of 0.0012 yesterday. So let's just go over these little hotspots real quick. The indoor Wi-Fi is about 1,124 mobiles per day. Swift Myrtle Eel is the name. That's about $1.34 per day. About the estimated ROI is about 185 days on a $249 unit. This lost about 60 mobile tokens over the past week. The outdoor Wi-Fi is about 2,372 mobiles per day. This is Strong Sand Fox. It's boosted multiplier 1x. It's got about $2.84 per day. So the estimated ROI is about 176 days on a $500 unit. It lost about 127 mobiles over the past week. Okay, let's see. So indoor CBRS, it's doing about 702 mobiles per day. This is Feisty Slate Possum that I'm using. And we got to take off 16 cents a day because of the SaaS fee. So it leaves it at about 68 cents per day on a $1,238 bundle, which honestly, these prices are so irrelevant now because the prices are all over the place at this point. So estimated ROI at that price is about 1,820 days. And they lost about 38 mobiles over the past week. A higher earning 430 is about 2,513 mobiles per day. This is Quiet Red Ladybug, ends with 0066. It's not like a super high earning one, but it's a decent earning one. So to adjust this boosted multiplier, so it's 1x, it would actually be around like 2,714 mobile tokens per day on a $1,338 bundle. It's doing about $2.75 per day. So the estimated ROI is about 486 days. This one lost also 133 mobiles over the past week. Low earning 430. This is about 477 mobiles per day. This is Rural Blue Gorilla. Boosted multiplier of 0.49, so I need to adjust it. So it's 1x. So it's about like 720 mobiles per day. Again, the bundle price, these bundle prices are so irrelevant now, but it's like $1,338. You could probably find them cheaper. So minus the 50-cent SaaS fee per day, it's about 36 cents. So estimated ROI is about 3,716 days. Lost 25 mobile tokens over the past week. And WeatherXM token price as of yesterday was 41 cents. And the stats of the network over there is they have 3,740 Wi-Fi on the network and 1,558 Heliums on the network. It gives about 5,298 total. So it went up about 19 units over the past week. So on average, the WeatherXM units earn about like 2.8 tokens per day. It fluctuates a little bit every day, but that's the average right now. Unit price is $400, so it's about like $1.14 per day. So estimated ROI is about 350 days. The GeoNets. So the GeoNet stats of the network as of yesterday, August 28th, there was 7,503 GeoNets on the network in the in the stable state. And I'm using the stable state as my like number every week. So there was about 153 that came on board over the past week. So pretty good. Lots of GeoNets. They could technically earn 24 tokens per day max, a normal one. But for my ROIs, I'm using 21 tokens per day. So the unit price is $659. Token price about 14 cents. So it's about $2.94 per day. So the estimated ROI is about 236 days. And last but not least, the demos. Yesterday, the demo price was about 14 cents. So a macaron at level 3, or like the third streak, is about 17 tokens per week. It equates to about 33 cents per day. On the $99 unit, it's about a 300 day, or an estimated ROI of about 300-ish days. So the level 3 AutoPi, again, I'm just using both level 3s, is about 35 tokens per week. So it's about 70 cents per day. unit cost is about $375. So the estimated ROI is about 535 days. So that's just the ROIs. I'll probably add the IoT one maybe next week, but let's be real. The IoT one, let's just guess off our heads, probably like 20 cents a day. So, and whatever cost you find a hotspot at. So, yeah. So let's go through the chart. What the hell should I talk about first? And just so people know, if you guys are requesting your hands, or maybe you should like wave and shit so I could see, just because my computer seems to be bugged up because I'm not in this call apparently, but I know I am. So, anyways, I'm going to go over the mobile working group results first. So, the elections are over. I'm just going to tell you who's in the working group for the next 6 months. So there's Boris, aka Zero Tweets. He got 24.65% of the votes. Myself, JD, I got 17.82% of the votes. There's JM. He got 17.24% of the votes. Fizzy, he's got 13.24% of the votes. And Jay Hella, he got 13.04% of the votes. So those are the 5 people who are going to like be in the working group for another 6 months. The ones who didn't get in was Keith, JM Broadband, and IMU. So maybe in 3 months you guys could try again. I think the other group is kind of easier to get in. So yeah, anyways, that's the mobile working group. The elections are closed, and thank you everyone who voted for me. I appreciate it. So let me just get that out of the way. Let's see. Look, I'm just going to get this weird topic out of the way just because I normally don't cover IoT stuff, but let's just get this over with. So yesterday I was listening to the community call that Helium does. They do it once a month. So one of the topics that kind of like stood out to me, because I'm not really up to date with the IoT stuff, even though I have IoT equipment like demos and Hive mappers and Helium hotspots, is apparently there's a company that is trying to control the 902 to 928 megahertz band. It basically, they're trying to take over that frequency, I guess. I don't know all the technical ways to explain this, but it's bad for us. And this is why I want to talk about it real quick. So basically, there's a company called NextNav Incorporated that wants to kind of like say, hey, this is our frequency now, or our band. And yeah, many of us in this call probably have IoT hotspots or demos or WeatherXMs or Hive mappers, anything that uses the Helium in the United States, because this is mainly towards the 915 band that I'm talking about, might have problems if this company would be able to take over that band. So look, I'm no RF engineer guy. I had to ask some people what's actually going to happen if this company would, what's going to happen to the network and shit if this company gets their way. So basically I was told there would be a significant increase in noise on that frequency in the operating environment. So what that means for like easier terms is, how the range is very far on LoRa. Like we could, I'm going to use like kilometers here, but they could go like 10, 20 kilometers to signal. Basically, because there's so much noise in the environment, they would have much less range. So they basically get like less reliable and easier terms because the signal could get very noisy because they're going to do whatever they want on it. So what this means for you is, how you set up a WeatherXM, a Helium one, it might have trouble connecting to an IoT hotspot. So it kind of affects a lot of us. I obviously rather this company doesn't take control of this band. And look, I'm not the person who is the smartest on this topic, but I definitely wanted to bring it to people's awareness. And I want to post a link about how you could file like a petition for this. I'm just going to put it in the chat. Put it in the chat here. It's some website called arrl.org. And there's a whole document there. And at the bottom of the page, there's a link you could click to file a petition with the FCC or something. And yeah, so if anyone wants to like fight that company and make a big stink so they don't get the ban, that'd be cool. I'm sure Joey and people would appreciate this from the Helium Foundation. He also did mention if anyone wants help to, well, I don't want to like put extra workload on him, but he did mention if anyone needs some help, like filing petitions and stuff like that, it sounds like he will lend a hand. So there is someone to help us if we're having trouble filing this type of document, because I've honestly never filed such a document before, but I will be filing one. So yeah. Anyways, just wanted to share that. And now back to our normal, programming of mobile stuff. So now that I'm out of IoT stuff. So let's go to HIP 130. So this is a really fun HIP for me. This is the data only hotspots, and it passed. It went to vote and already passed. It was 96.2% yes votes. So what this basically means for the network is now we're going to have a lot of data only hotspots coming online. Just before people panic, though, data only can't touch your POC rewards. So like, it doesn't really hurt you. All this does for the network is let us onboard, more access points. So places like the malls and stadiums, movie theaters, whatever, places with existing enterprise access points. It sounds like Nova's already done work with them to be able to onboard like several thousand units over the next 2 months. So we should see a humongous bump in access points on the network. So, if you're interested in setting up an access point, you could just go over to like probably maybe not Best Buy, but like you could order certain Ubiquity access points or Arubas or Cisco's, whatever you want that has a pass point. You could onboard that onto the network. While there's no instructions right now exactly how to do it, they're going to be available soon. And the cost to onboard this unit onto the network is only $2. So it's like $1 of HNT turned into DC and $1 worth of mobile tokens. So for $2, you could onboard, like there's a, what's it called? A Ubiquity AC Lite, for example, is about $118 on Amazon. But there's no POC reward. Just remember, no POC, just data. So people need to have Helium mobile phone plans currently to pass paid data. But in the future, hopefully we'll have paid data from the beta carriers. So these hotspots are probably going to be a very interesting option for people in the future. What this also means for people who don't live in the United States, which is exciting for me because I live in Canada, is people in Canada and Germany and around the world, anywhere, can deploy these data only hotspots. But before you run out and go pick them up, just remember you need a Helium mobile subscriber near you, which is currently only available in like the United States. I think they just launched in Puerto Rico. So you need one of those guys to like walk by your hotspot to even earn you rewards. And before you think you're just going to go game it, you can't get more out of the phone plan than the plan's cost itself. Like the plan costs us like $20. You can't get $30 worth of tokens out of it. So before you think you're a mastermind and going to game the network, you can't do that. Just to shit on everyone's ideas to cheat. Yeah. So data only hotspots. I mean, I'm excited. It seems like Nova's excited. Lots of good news with that. So there's that. How to check. Actually, let me go to 131. Hold on. Yeah. So 131. This is the anti-gaming HIP. This didn't pass with a 99.37%, which is honestly, I'm not sure if this is the highest passing HIP ever, but I don't think I've seen a 99% before. Maybe in the past, but whatever. So basically, I'm sure you guys have push notifications already, or if you haven't already seen what's going to happen, starting September 5th, if you have a Wi-Fi equipment, you need a Helium mobile phone plan to have like passed around your hotspot, like to walk around it or something, connect to it. It needs to be in the area. It will connect and disconnect, whatever. Not going to go into details how to exactly do it. But basically, if you don't have a Helium mobile phone plan or someone around you doesn't have a Helium mobile phone plan, your hotspot earnings are just going to drop to zero if you're in an A or B footfall type of area. So if you're like Oracle multiplier is 0.5x or higher, you're in jeopardy right now. You got to go get a CDR record. So yeah, basically CDR record, just go get a Helium mobile phone plan and walk around the hotspot pretty much. It's going to suck for people who have like tons of deployments in states that they're not in, because now they got to figure out how to get phones near their equipment. But yeah, this is pretty much going to take out all the gaming in the airports and in the in the higher like 1x multiplier areas. So we should see a boost in rewards in on September 5th, I think we're going to see a lot of the radios, like 4,000 or something, are going to go offline. Not offline, but like they won't be earning POC until they get their CDR records, and then they'll come back online. So the people who have CDR records now, we should see an increase in rewards. So that's pretty good. But it's only temporary until the CDR records, they all get them. So now, just before people panic, like, how the hell do I know if I have a CDR record? We have just added it to the Moken Explorer like 30 minutes ago. And if you just type in your hotspot name, you go to the Moken Explorer. Actually, I'll just put a link just in case people don't know how to get to Explorer. Hold on, Explorer. I'm going to paste it in the chat, but it's basically explorer.moken.io. And when you type in your hotspot name, I'm going to post a picture too. You're going to see, if you scroll down right under the speed test, here, I put the picture in chat. So right under the speed test of your hotspot, you're going to see your like Wi-Fi cell or your CBRS radio ID, and you'll see if it has a valid CDR record or not. And basically what we're doing is we've just taken the data from BB Blaster in Discord from Nova. He's making a list and it updates once a week from what I understand right now. And we're manually doing this until the data is on chain. So what this kind of means is if you go validate your radio tomorrow, it's still going to show invalid on the Explorer until next week. So that's kind of where we're stuck right now until the data is on chain. So it's the only thing we could do right now, but it's there. So everyone could head on over. You'll see like there's not a valid CDR. It will be in red if you don't have one. So yeah, let's just go back to my little topic here. I'm not sure if I forgot anything on this other than, yeah, this HIP is supposed to live for like 150-ish days, and then we'll be in HIP 118 land. And then, yeah, so there is one other, I think, amendment or some update coming to this HIP, though. I think Fizzy already mentioned it, that he might want to affect. Basically, what's going to happen is since all the gamers just got kicked out of the high earning hexes, they probably, I mean, realistically, they're going to move their equipment to the low earning hexes to just milk whatever rewards they could get. So there might be a HIP coming to just get rid of those, the leftover gamers that have moved their shit to the super low earning hexes just to milk the rest. So, yeah, that could be coming. So anyways, yeah, that's HIP 131. I'm happy it passed. And we'll hear more about it later, because right now actually, I should mention this before I end this topic, but if you have a CBRS radio, you're not going to be infected until 21 days from now. You need to get the beta eSIM, and I did save the link here to paste it. So all CBRS owners need to go to this link in chat that I've posted. You also need the Helium mobile phone plan, but you need the beta SIM to trigger to be able to like connect to your radio. So you need this too. It's free to get the beta SIM, not the phone plan, but you're going to need that too. So yeah, anyways, that is HIP 131. I don't want to ramble on it too much, but if you got some more comments or feedback on it, there is the 131 channel in Discord, and there's lots of comments going on in there now. So yeah. Let's talk about the apocalypse. So this is just a funny word about the, apocalypse. It's the end of the end of the world for POC, kind of like that's how I've kind of titled this. So basically in Discord, this is not official, by the way, for anyone right now. This is just me talking as a friendly friend. So in Discord, there's been talks about, what's going to happen with POC. We all kind of understand, I hope by now, that POC is kind of going to disappear at some point and shift into data utility. Been saying this for months. But so next week, from what I understand, we might see a sneak peek of how POC might be going away or turning into some form of data utility. Now, this is just like a pre-HIP thing. This is just like a Google Doc or some shit. It's not a HIP yet. It's probably not even a good time to do anything like this. But when the information is out, I will definitely share it on the call with you guys. So from what I understand, it's Boris, Italian dude, and potentially Mad Ninja that are working together writing the HIP on this, or trying to write information on how it might work. So yeah, we might see a little sneak peek next week of this, and I will be excited to share what they have concocted, because I don't know exactly how we will move from POC to data utility. Is it going to be based on unique connections or concurrent connections? How much data you pass? I have no idea what the best way to go about this is. So excited to see what might be coming in the future. And why I'm bringing this up is you might be thinking like, oh, this is kind of early. Why am I talking about this? But we have been hearing from like Amir on Twitter and other like Nova people that it sounds like we're going to have paid data sooner than later, like sooner than we think. So, once we have paid data from the beta carriers, that means we could technically move away from POC if we have a good result. So, like, maybe we'll be moving away from POC way sooner than we think, because I didn't realize we're going to have paid data this soon. So, yeah, this is just, the chit chat going on in Discord and over X. So we'll just have to wait and see. But just keep it in mind that things are changing. Hopefully they're changing for the good. And yeah. What else I got here? Let me see. Did the CDRs. Yeah, hold on. Let me just see. Anyone want to come up on stage? Anyone, raise your hand. Feel free. I see you in there, up dog. I'm just going to call you out. I see that gold check. No? Anyone? I'm out of topic. So let's see. We have like 30 minutes left. So if no one raises their hand, I'm just going to end the call because, yeah. So I'll give you guys a minute. So, or forever hold your peace. And then I'm heading over to Discord. Oh, okay. I knew I would get someone. Okay, guys. Chad's coming up. Our favorite. Let's go, Chad. I know you were preparing for this call, so let's see what you got. Okay, who else we got? We got Brainstormer coming up too. Okay, I invited both of you. My computer is a little like glitched up, so I can't actually see who's on stage, but I think you both are on right now. I hope.
I'm on. The other gentleman can go first if he'd like.
So polite. Well, it doesn't seem like he wants to talk right now, but you could go, Chad.
Okay, yeah. I just wanted
You guys hear me?
Oh, yeah. We hear you, Brainstormer.
Oh, I wanted to say that when you say that moving over to data instead of POC, I think you have to be more clear. Like, are you saying that we're not going to have any emission rewards for the proof of coverage, or is proof of coverage changing to not using simulated coverage? I think that part needs to be more clear, because
yeah,
a lot of people get confused when you say get rid of POC, as in like there's no reward emissions at all. But that's not actually what you're thinking, right?
Yeah. So to be honest, I haven't seen the proposal yet, but realistically, yeah, we're going to move away from simulated coverage, and it won't be based on, hey, how many hexes you cover, the more rewards you get. It'll be based on the utility somehow.
Right. So that's the part I wanted to bring up, is that when you talk about getting rid of POC, you have to be more clear about, like, you're not talking about getting rid of emission. You're talking about changing the way that rewards are calculated.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's all I wanted to point out.
No, that's good. Yeah, it's a tricky thing to explain, because when I talk about POC, I'm actually always talking about more hexes covered is more rewards. That's the stuff I'm talking about. So yeah,
I understand where you're coming from, but I mean, a lot of people get, when they first hear, wait, getting rid of POC, and they assume that there will be no emission. But yeah, it's just changing the way that emissions are calculated based on a different metric. That's all. Anyways.
So what I think will happen, the rewards from POC are gonna, they're not gonna just poof and disappear. I imagine they'll be put into the data bucket somehow, or I'm not exactly sure what their plan is gonna be, but like I said, once we see whatever they're planning, definitely love to talk about it.
Hey, JD.
Yep. What's up?
Hey, with CBRS, if you want to make sure your phone connects, is it best to turn your Wi-Fi off so you don't get, like, if someone has Wi-Fi and CBRS in the same spot, if you want to make sure your data flows through CBRS, are there any steps you need to take to make sure your phone
Yeah,
does
so
that?
I think what people are going to end up doing, not that I encourage this type of behavior, but yeah, I think people are just going to like put their hotspots on like smart switches or something, or just unplug them and pass it. And sorry, they're going to like unplug one of the radios, try and get the CDR, and then plug their other one back in. And I think that's what people are going to end up doing if they have like multiple units stacked on the same pole, like 3 or something. I don't see another way how to do it other than that. It used to be like that, I think, in the pollen days, people have said. I never got into pollen, but yeah.
You're gonna have to cycle your radio. That's the only way. Yeah, that's the only way. There's no other way to do it.
Because it'll just pick both of them up, or what?
Well, you don't know which one's going to pick, right? Like
your phone.
But what if you just have mine are like 180, so they like make the most perfect arrangement you can make with like 2 radios.
Yeah, but it's easier just to unplug it to like be sure, right? Like, why would you even not just unplug it? It's bad behavior.
Yeah.
So here's the problem, right? You have your radios on the same pole pointing at 3 different directions. Most of the time, if it's not you, let's say someone else, right? They're probably driving in from the parking lot where there's only one radio pointed. There's always going to be one radio where people are going to be more likely to connect to because that's where they're coming from, right? And once it's connected, they're not going to lose that connection unless they like drive away or, that's impossible. I mean, it's going to stay connected. So there's no way for them to validate your other radios with a weaker signal. So that's the problem. You cannot it's hard to force a phone to connect to a specific radio unless the other radios are not transmitting. Basically, just turn it off. And then that's the only way you guarantee which radio you're connected to.
Very, very few phones connect to radios anyway, Brainstormer. I mean, let's be honest, right? You got to have the eSIM, and then you got to hope your phone plays nice with the radio. Then you got to hope you can connect.
It applies
Have
to
you had
Wi-Fi
trouble
too.
connecting your phone with CBRS?
In Manhattan, it's a goddamn nightmare.
I know you always have trouble with CBRS, but I just want to mention, like Brainstormer also said, this is going to happen with Wi-Fi too, right? If you have like 3 Wi-Fis or 2 Wi-Fis on the same pole for some reason, it's just going to be easier to unplug one of them and then try and get the CDR. And then when you think you got it, unplug that one and plug in the old one you unplugged. And
because if you just show a little data usage, right, it's going to work or no?
Your best bet is to make a phone call. That's what I've been doing. I mean, initially there were, we had to do these for boosted hexes. And then a lot of people were noticing like, hey, right, they were doing it for the boosted hexes, and then the bands were not lifted. So then Man Ninja says, well, the way to guarantee that there is a CDR record is to basically make a phone call. And
because it has to bounce off a T-Mobile radio,
right,
and connect to that.
Right, which also means that your phone has to turn off Wi-Fi calling. So imagine like if you're hoping someone on Helium Mobile can validate it for you. Imagine that it's in a popular area. They have to not be on Wi-Fi calling, right? In order for this to work 100%. So if you want to do it validating yourself, make sure you're not on Wi-Fi calling, connect to the Wi-Fi, make a phone call. That's the guaranteed way that you will connect to a T-Mobile tower while you're connected to that hotspot. So yeah.
But if you turn your Wi-Fi off, how do you connect to the Wi-Fi when you're making the call?
Wi-Fi calling.
Oh, just turn Wi-Fi calling off and then connect to the Wi-Fi and then make a call.
Right. So the call isn't going through your Wi-Fi. It's going to the T-Mobile tower.
Okay,
so that's when that guarantees the CDR, and you are connected to both the hotspot and the tower. And that's the record that
makes a lot
they
more
need.
sense.
Yeah. but most people have Wi-Fi calling on. So
Let me ask a question. What type of hexes do they start demanding all this nonsense for? Like,
Yeah, dude. So this is easy. If you go to the planner tool and you click on the hexes, if they're over 0.5, that's it. Everything that's 0.5 and up. So it's basically all the ones that
yeah,
are A
that's
and
the nice
Bs.
thing. Yeah, like I said, I have a bunch of mine out on the farm in the middle of nowhere, and they get 0.38, which is
Yeah, so
hands down
you're
easy.
immune
Yeah,
to this. You won't even get
love it.
affected. But
Well,
I do think Fizzy might swoop in and eventually write one to affect that too. So I know you're in
but
the
I'm
chat,
moving
Fizzy. So
next week. I'm be moving into New York City. I'm gonna point more radios at the UN. I got two more radios going in and a Wi-Fi that are going to be hitting the UN.
yeah, I did
you
want
were
to.
you were asking which hex was being affected by this first. Actually, the boosted hexes were the first ones that needed the CDR record. So that's already happened. That's already been happening. We've been trying to. If you don't have a CDR record and a boosted hex, you're banned. So we've been trying to lift the ban. So that's been happening. So
Let
the
me
new
ask
hit
this.
applies to everybody else.
How about this question? How can we tell which hexes in Miami have never been activated? Is there a way to tell that?
On the planner, it tells you the countdown.
Oh, okay. Yes, yes. So you can see if it's like already expired or if it's still a fresh 100X. Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yeah, there is one group of people that are kind of absolutely fucked up, unfortunately. I saw them in Discord. Someone decided to speak out after the hit passed. Forgot what the guy's name is, but he was deploying Wi-Fi's in high footfall, but there is apparently no T-Mobile coverage where he deploys these things. So, it's Mr. Charlie in Discord. I think this guy is a very like edge case scenario. If you are in an area that does not have any T-Mobile coverage for some reason, which I don't imagine is a common thing. I think it's very rare, probably. I don't think you could get CDR records. So some people like him sound like they're kind of screwed. So,
yeah, that does suck.
Yeah, I don't know how you would get a record. I don't think you can. I think you just actually screwed. Unfortunately.
Yeah, it's edge case. It happens.
Yeah. So, but I do expect almost everyone in here to probably have T-Mobile coverage. Like he was really in a rural like mountain area. It seems like so. Yeah.
Well, he's using Starlink, so.
Oh yeah. So he's extra rural, like.
Yeah, pretty rural if you have to end up using Starlink as a backhaul. I can't imagine those places are high footfall though.
Yeah,
are you saying that A and B?
Some of them have like they're like an A and a B, like they're one. It was very specific at the schools and stuff, which kind of makes sense, I guess, or like they were like community centers or something. I don't know his area. I just zoomed into the map and looked, and I'm like, there's a couple of them, but most of it's like 0.03, like they're just dead in the water, like worthless. But yeah,
well,
it's a remote installer.
It is.
Yeah, I hope many people aren't doing installs like that. I mean, it's cool that he is, but you know, he's technically just fucked for POC a little bit. If data transfer starts passing and stuff, hopefully he'll get his rewards that way. If we got like not T-Mobile, but like I don't know, AT&T or Verizon or someone else that could connect through it.
He said he installed that. He said he installed that location like last month. I was really surprised. I mean, if that location was up like back in before 122 before 122, that place would have made a killing.
Yeah, because it's such a rural area. Like,
right.
Yeah, he just did it a little too late. So, yeah. Did you guys have anything else you guys wanted to talk about? Since you guys are the three on stage right now, I think at least there's three of you. I can't see exactly. Any other concerns of the network or any V3 leaks or anything you guys want to chat about real quick?
No, I'm just trying to figure out CDRS is my concern right now. So
Okay.
Well, you guys know that this right now you only need to have one CDR record to just one time.
Yeah.
When it's gonna hurt, it's gonna be when 118 is actually implemented because you gotta do it once every week.
Yeah.
So
Hopefully,
that's going to be really painful.
I think we might have to adjust the numbers so it's not once a week. One a week sounds very aggressive. I don't think a lot.
Are you hearing something about somebody putting out a hip to not make it once a week?
Yeah, I've heard people already talk about potentially changing it, depending on how like the results from 131 is. Like we'll be able to see how many people don't have CDRs and how long it kind of takes them to maybe trigger the CDR. So we have some little data. Obviously, Nova probably has more data, but
okay. So
I wouldn't be against like once a month or once every 2 weeks or something like.
You know how
well,
we
hopefully if
passed
we're getting offload from other carriers, it won't matter as much. They'll always be getting hit.
I don't think that's gonna. Well, I know that you said. I know Amir said that it's coming sooner than he expected, but we don't know exactly what he expected. He could have expected it next year, right? And then it doesn't come until like I don't know, spring of next year. I mean, it all depends on how long AT&T need to do their testing and we don't even know how much you're paying either. So a lot of that stuff is still in the air. Now I want to JD. I want to go back to we passed the hit for 125, which gives Nova the power to, which gives the SPs the powers to basically not reward suspicious activities, right? Because of the boosted hex.
I think that was only in boosted hexes, though.
Exactly. Why not just expand that? What if we were to expand that and give them more power over all hotspots and not only boosted hexes? Then we don't have to go through the CDR thing.
Hey, I would love to do that, but I think it'd be hard to convince the community, hey, let's give Nova more power. Like sometimes the community doesn't like this type of stuff. And
well, I mean, now that they know that the 125, now that they know that there's a lot of work on behalf of the deployer, maybe that will change their mind that let Nova stop the gaming instead of making us do all the work, right?
Hey, I would love that.
I already tried that. I wrote a hip basically that would have done that, but it got voted down.
Yeah, I think Andy actually did write one and it failed. So we were like, well, that sucks.
I know, but I think maybe second time around, maybe because I think that this 131 is going to be really painful for a lot of people. And if the reason why we are doing the 131 is to stop, initially it all started because of those airport ones, right? I mean, Nova, if they had expanded power, they could easily just go in there and say, yep, nope, these are not going to do it, and then switch those off. Like, and I'm pretty sure that they could do that a lot faster than relying on the community to do this 131 thing.
So,
and a lot of people are going to get caught. Like, a lot of innocent, good deploy are going to get caught up in this because they just don't have anybody nearby to validate it.
Going back to, you said AT&T coming on, that's not going to help with CDRs because AT&T isn't going to share their CDR record. Other MNOs and MNBOs that come on aren't going to share their CDR records to validate hotspot locations. So we're always only going to be reliant upon Helium Mobile. There's not going to be another
also,
MNO
though, with what you said, most people that are deploying a hotspot believe it enough to probably have their own Helium Mobile plan themselves. So
yeah, but that basically means we're all going to always have to rely upon self-validation.
But he's saying that people are going to have problems validating because they may not have the ability to do it. Well, who in the world would have a Helium hotspot without having at least one plan?
No, I want to just explain what I meant.
Hold on. Large deployers that deploy like across the nation. How about that? I mean, you can't just think about people who are buying and putting in their homes. There are deployers that have 50, 100 out-of-state locations.
No, I understand that. That sucks for them. Like, I have a bunch, but I can drive to all of them.
You can't expect every single host I have hotspots out of state. I can't expect my host every single one of them to, hey, you got to switch over to Helium Mobile.
Well, they've
I'm
kind
pulling
of
them
made
back.
they've kind of like made it clear they don't really care about that. They're kind of like, well, too damn bad. That's not what we're doing, which is a mistake. Maybe there should be a large deployer portal that allows you to take pictures, and it's probably
pictures
way too
not going to do it.
Well, that's just unnecessary work. Once we move to some sort of data utility, all this stuff doesn't even matter.
I've been saying that all along,
right.
and we're going to still have POC for a while. I mean, POC is not going away in 2 months.
Yeah,
POC can be changed to reward based on metrics that carriers care about. That's where I
definitely,
want.
But
I wish
it'll
that
still be a
POC
form of
go.
POC. Like, I think we're still a solid year plus
away
from pure data.
We hear you, Rarman.
Is it working now?
Yeah, I hear you.
I hear you.
All right. Wow, that's so weird because it says I'm muted on my end, so that's very confusing.
Yeah, me too. They inverted the colors or something on my end too.
Oh, okay. Wow, I was confused
I know
this
it's
whole
confusing
time.
as hell.
Just remember the network is meant to serve the highest utility deployments, right? So this whole argument about CDRs are too difficult and the 1 week thing, if you can't get a CDR in a week, you probably don't have a good deployment. There's enough Helium Mobile customers, and you might have a decent deployment, but you don't have one that's going to be really high value to the network, unfortunately.
There's only 100,000 Helium Mobile subscribers. How is that enough to validate coverage across the whole United States?
You don't want to validate coverage across the whole United States. You just want to validate coverage in the most dense areas, and that's enough. That's enough subs to do that.
Can I just add this? So. I have a bunch in Manhattan, and they're not getting any data on their own, unless it's a family member of mine.
Bobby, yours are also CBRS radios, right?
Yes, CBRS and one Wi-Fi.
And they're 400
there's your problem.
Yes, they're 400 feet high.
What
CBRS,
do you expect?
Okay, they're not. Are they actually 400 feet high? Of course, they're not going to work.
CBRS can cover 400 feet easy, pointing at the ground. I mean, no problem.
CBRS isn't really doing anything for the network, though. Those are arguably useless, right? At this point.
Totally agreed. But the Wi-Fi is not getting verified. There's just not enough subscribers in Manhattan yet to verify it. I have to send someone in to verify personally.
You're an edge case. I mean, you put a Wi-Fi at 400 feet. Who the hell is going to be able to get up there to verify it for you? But Armand, I understand what you're saying. And Andy, what you said is also true. But I think what Armand is saying is that what he values as high footfall locations and what you value, Andy, as a high footfall good location are not the same thing. Yes, if you put it on University of Miami campus, right? Yeah, there's tons of Helium Mobile subscribers there. And if those are the locations that you want to say that are valuable, and then all the other locations where where there is zero Helium Mobile subscribers that can connect over a week, then I think that your expectation is a little high, as far as what is considered a good and valuable location, Armand.
They need to show us what locations are good, because obviously we can't see that. Obviously boosted hexes are, but is there any boosted hexes in other states besides Miami? I guess there's probably a handful of states, but still, they need to publish somehow subscriber data and mapping data, so actual Helium
I think going forward, the valuable locations are just really crowded non-residential locations. That's pretty much how I see it.
Yeah, and I just want to mention real quick.
I have some in those areas, but there's no subscribers.
Yeah, so there is a layer coming to the planner soon, because I've asked Matt Ninja a couple times. There's apparently a layer coming that will show where Helium Mobile subscribers were in the past and how many were potentially in the hex. but they can't, obviously show exactly where people are because like
Yeah.
privacy reasons. But so hopefully when we have that like layer, we could start to identify where to like place hotspots. But yeah, right now we're just like shooting fish in a barrel. Like I don't know where to exactly install. But I feel like if you install at a university, eventually there'll be Helium mobile subs there. Like,
yeah, and remember that paid data is about to become a thing. So for some people, that might eclipse what is already their POC anyway.
Yeah, because I think if you can't get the CDRs right now, you could still get the data transfer. And imagine if we have the paid data transfer from beta carriers, like that will probably surpass the POC rewards. So I think once everyone realizes how much data transfer is about to flow, we might be talking about different things later.
Yeah, but by the time they realize it, they already have the data is already flowing. I mean, there's no way for us to know exactly how much data, or for any deployers to know how much data is actually going to go flow through their hotspot, because right now not all of us are on the what is that, the carrier beta firmware right now. So I think that the deployers just don't want to have any break in their POC rewards, and to have to go and manually validate the hotspots is just a very daunting task going forward. That's all.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, and I definitely agree that the network is a lot more geared towards smaller deployers right now. Like it is hard for large deployers to operate, especially if they're in like a very disparate. They're deploying across a large area, let's say. Personally, I like that. I mean, I think the network's stronger if we have more smaller deployers, and I think it's cool that it gives opportunities to smaller deployers instead of just consolidating power once again. But I see how it does create challenges for certain people who are adding legit value to the network.
And something we mentioned last mobile working group call, actually Boris mentioned it, which I kind of overlooked this. I don't know why. It's the simplest solution. If for some reason it doesn't work well, this like CDR thing, we could obviously just make a hip to turn off what we just passed, right? Like it's not like it's set in stone forever. We could just undo it if we see, oh shit, it's actually not working out really well. I don't know if it will pass or fail, but we do have that option to just undo what we've done. So,
yep,
yeah,
well said.
I mean, I think in general that the idea is really good. The only thing that I think the timing is not great, because I just don't feel like there's enough subscribers, and I know a lot of deployers are gonna get hurt. But at the same time, I mean, we do have a week, right? About a week's time to kind of handle this, or at least people who are paying attention, and those that actually get it taken care of are actually gonna get a bunch of extra rewards for doing so, because because other people are going to drop off. So there's your incentive to go and get it done.
Yep. Yeah, there may be some collateral here, but I think a good thing to also remember is that I know not everyone's in the carrier beta yet, but I think a lot of people will not ever get their hotspot selected for the carrier beta, and that's just because they've deployed it at home, right? Or they've deployed it in a very, very low density location. So once more and more hotspots get selected for the carrier beta, I mean, we just saw it practically double overnight. Well, to us, it was overnight. I don't know how long it took in the back end, but we're up to 400 something hotspots now. So, once all of the hotspots that the carriers are going to select get selected, if your hotspot is not one of those hotspots, it's probably not that useful, unfortunately.
Armand, are you so I was kind of wondering about the selection process. Do you know if it's actually a manual process where they're actually looking at the GPS coordinates to see where it is, and then maybe looking at like Helium mobile subscribers connecting to it, or whether or not there's any organic before they turn it on for the other carriers?
I don't know the exact details of the process, but it's pretty obvious from looking at some of the hotspots that have been turned on that they're interested in commercial locations, they're interested in high footfall locations, and they're definitely not interested in residential locations.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think that's a given. But I was wondering if it's like a manual, like an actual manual process where someone's looking into more detail on like the CDRs and also like Helium mobile connections and all that.
I mean, I think the people at Nova Labs are pretty smart, so I would assume that that's how they do it. I don't know really how else it would be done.
Yeah, and
is there a way to see which hotspots are in the program?
There may be, but I'm not aware of it. I'm just looking at people sharing their status in Discord and whatnot.
Gotcha.
You don't know if others I mean, you can tell maybe from like the offload data. I mean, from the unrewardable data, if they are like insanely high, like in the hundreds of gigs, then most likely they are. You can, if it's your own hotspot, you look at the version, and if your version is like the if your hotspot is on like a whatever version number plus the whatever is behind the plus will tell you what carrier it is. So that's one way you can tell. Armand, do you know if any of the hotspots are actually doing multiple carriers?
I mean, there's 2 carriers listed on the dashboard. I don't know the exact answer to that question, whether a single hotspot is serving multiple carriers, but I do know that what's actually possible in terms of the hardware and software is they could serve up to 8 carriers per hotspot, maybe 16. And this just has to do with how many SSIDs the hotspot can broadcast at once.
Right. Yeah, I was just wondering if they're doing like a kind of like an A/B testing, or if there's any hotspots out there that actually is doing multiple. I haven't seen any multiples yet, except during beta. Yeah, it is interesting.
Make it bank. I did invite you. I don't know if everyone else's like microphones are inverted today, but like if you're trying to talk, it's the red one. Yeah, I hear you now. It's
so you actually have
weird.
muted.
yeah, I know. It's so weird
that's really
today.
tripped me up.
Copy. So I think Armand was just speaking about if the carriers don't select your hotspot, you may not be in a useful location. Is it that the hotspot is not in a great location, or just that the offload carrier may not be interested in that specific location? Because the last thing I saw about what the hotspot carriers were looking to was a bunch of locations up in Alaska. Like I haven't seen anything else to show what the carriers are interested in. Now you're saying that they are interested in commercial locations with high footfall, but still, like, okay, so can you guys share some of that with, like, what gives you that information or knowledge, that can share with us to make us a little bit more comfortable? Because after the last thing about the areas that they're interested in, I didn't really have great,
I think they're still selecting. I don't think they're turning everybody on at the same time. So even if you're not selected right now, doesn't mean that your location is not something they want. And it's Helium Mobile that's doing the decision making. It's not actually the AT&T carriers.
I'm not so sure about that.
Yeah, let Armand respond. Because he's.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that. It's just Helium Mobile making the decisions. But I mean, just look at the locations that are already joining the beta. Those are the ones that are interesting to the carriers, right? That tells you everything you need to know.
Is there somewhere that we can see a list of the ones that are?
Is there a list?
Again, not that I know of.
So how would we see them?
People are sharing. Just go look in the community in the Discord. People are sharing which hotspots they have, where they are. It's pretty interesting to look at.
What I mean to say is that Helium Mobile knows what the carrier wants based on what carriers tell them, but Helium Mobile is the one selecting the hotspots and pushing the firmware.
Yeah, I
based
guess
on
that
what
makes
the carrier
sense.
wants.
I guess that would make sense. Yeah, I mean the carriers cannot push firmware to hotspots if that's what you're saying.
Anyways, hate to interrupt, but just being mindful of time. I got like 3 minutes, and then I got to be in the working group call, and maybe some of these questions we could ask, like Bad Ninja or Boris, about like better locations maybe we should be deploying in. Who knows? I did think I remember they mentioned they would update the planner. So there's more locations, not just like the Alaska and Hawaii or Honolulu. I haven't looked at it in a while. I'm not sure if those are still the only two spots, but they did say they were going to pick more. Or actually, it might have been an Italian dude that said there was going to be more. So it's just a small sample.
Oh, I have a quick question. I went on the planner yesterday for the first time in a little bit, and I do see that they have a new option where it can automatically like simulate a plan for you.
Yeah, so I
You
ran
guys,
that.
what are they using to do that simulation? How do they come up with those?
Yeah, so I ran it because we built a simulator of our own too, and we're like, oh shit, now what's this? But when you use the basic mode of their simulator, it just leaves it at 0 azimuth. So I'm like, oh, well, that's not exactly. I mean, it doesn't seem to point it anywhere. It just
Yeah, I
leaves it
used
at
it
0.
yesterday. I was like, what? All right, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't try and make it aim like the one that we built. It tries multiple angles and just gives you the highest result. Um, but honestly, the stuff is kind of like, as rewards for the more covered hexes fades away, the stuff kind of becomes less and less relevant. So it's still relevant right now, so it's still worth like optimizing it. But yeah, their planner tool, the little simulator thing, it just drops it at 0. It's pretty odd choice. Um, Look, I'm just gonna have to, I guess, use this time to say there's 1 minute left, so I should probably get closing this call so we are not late to the working group call. But I'm just gonna, I guess, end it and say thank you for everyone, including Making Bank, Max Hammer, Armin, Brainstormer. Dude, I don't know how to pronounce that orange helium name, but you too. So and everyone else who joined, I forgot who came up and who left, but yeah, I guess I will see you guys in the mobile working group call in like a minute. So guys have a good rest of your Thursday and see you in like 1 minute.